Greetings, Internet viewers. It's your old pal Oxleymations here again, doing a little bit of an interesting video. At least I hope it'll be of interest to you. As y'all have probably noticed, there's this container on the table in front of me, and some of my viewers may remember that this contains one of my jumping spiders, the one who thankfully has survived. So, you may have also noticed that there's this big box over here. Well, the reason why there's this big box and why the container for my jumper are on the table next to each other is because, thanks to a very generous donation from one of my viewers, from one of y'all out there, I was able to buy a better enclosure for the poor little thing. So, contained within this box is the new enclosure, and I'm going to be rehousing this little one over here into this new enclosure. So first things first, and the enclosure itself is from a company called Tarantula Cribs. I'm not sponsored in any way, shape, or form by them. So we're going to cut this open, I'm going to pull it out, and then I'll show it to you, everybody. Little jumping spider is very interested in what I'm doing right now. Sitting on one of the artificial leaves, oh, never mind, it was. Now it's jumping around. But the poor thing has been having a doozy of a time trying to climb around in there. It keeps slipping on the plastic. So I'm hoping that this new enclosure is going to be easier for it to work with in terms of, climbing around. Alright, the big box is now on the floor, and the squeaky bubble wrap is on the box, within the box. And thankfully, the tape that they used to package this thing is coming off really easily. Ta-da! All this commotion is making the poor little thing excitable. It is trying so hard to climb up onto the top of the enclosure. And speaking of that, up until this point, this clear plastic box that you see that I've been using as an enclosure, if I'm remembering correctly, this is a protective case for a Beanie Baby from back in the day. So when collectors would buy like bundles and bundles and bunches of those goofy TY plushes, they would put them in these to keep them safe. And protected from the dust. It's got the order slip on top, showing how much I paid for it, which I'm going to keep that to myself. And now we put of course it's stuck on the tape. Hold on. There we go. There we go. But like I said, the container, the new enclosure is from Tarantula Cribs. And my apologies for the quality of this video. My phone is currently on the charger, and well, I didn't want to do this in my office in case the little thing winds up getting loose during the transfer from one container to the other. So I'm currently in my kitchen using my old camera, but it should still be fine. Now, let's go ahead and remove the new enclosure from its box. Didn't intend to throw it across the world like that. Get back up. But now I shall remove the foam and let y'all get a look at the new enclosure for the first time. It is in fact shaped like a coffin. Very astute observation there, viewers. Excuse me. Another little tiny strip of tape that was on the plastic bag, which contains the enclosure. Now, how do I go about... Oh, okay. Ah, it's got magnets in it. And that's another reason why I didn't want to do this in my office, because of the fact that I've got a lot of VHS tapes in there. And video cassettes are recorded magnetically, so they do not play well with magnets. This, over time, or if I made direct contact with one of my VHS tapes with this thing, would blank it off. It would completely clear the tape. But yes, I believe it's made out of plexiglass. I don't know all the details and specifics about it. All I know is it is hopefully going to be a better home for the little one here than its current container. Alright, now, first things first, I need something to put the little one in. I hadn't thought this far ahead. There's going to be a brief cut, and when I come back, I'll have something to put the little one in. So, be right back, folks. Okay, now we're back. And I got an oversized pill bottle that we had laying around, which is actually the same container that I used to capture this little one the first time when I found it. Only this time I was able to put a pipe cleaner in it that I was able to twist into a curlicue by essentially just putting it around my thumb like this, and just kind of twisting it until it came out with a curlicue kind of shape. This is so that the little one is something to grab onto and climb around on while I'm doing what I gotta do. Now the hard part is going to be transferring it from that container into this much smaller container without it getting away. So, wish me luck, folks. Whoops, shoot. That's going to make that this much more difficult. Or make this that much more difficult. I have no idea where it went. Alright, container is open. Got myself a flashlight. Alright folks, gonna need a couple minutes while I track down the little goober. So we'll cut back in when I've located it. Okay, so we've found the little one. It's tucked into a little crevice on the back of this cork bark here. So, to my camera person, quick question: do you remember whether or not I cleaned out that the big plastic container on the table there that used to house some cheesecake?
I believe you did.
Okay. If you could help me grab that real quick.
Of course.
Right here. It's still oily on the outside, which means we did not actually clean that off yet.
Oh.
but in the short term it's going to have to do. Keeping an eye on the container in case the little goofball decides to get any ideas,
Yes.
aside from hiding.
Excuse me.
Okay. Start things off. Gotta carefully grab onto this cork bark. Okay, and we gently, ever so gently, place it in here. This cap to keep it at an angle. And I just gave the poor little thing another scare, so that was fun. Not for the little one. Alright, now we remove the little decorations I put in its former enclosure. And I'm going to reuse the coconut fiber, coconut substrate that was already in here, in the new enclosure. So we'll go ahead and we'll move things around. And when you're doing this, you don't want to add any more substrate that would wind up going above these little ventilation holes. You can tell that I'm not an expert at this sort of thing. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this might work better if I put this, or if I house it like so. Because it could be done this way. But if I do it this way, it's got more surface area that it can climb around on than this way. So yeah, I'm going to do this. And we just dump in the substrate. Let me take a look here. Yeah, it's going to need at least a bit more substrate than this. So I'm going to go over to the big storage tub of substrate I have over here, off screen, and dig out some more. Alright folks, I'm back with some more substrate. So I'm just going to dump that in. Get that level again. Okay. So a little bit more towards the head of the enclosure. That. I'll level and let you guys know that I'm not entirely sure how much substrate is actually required for a jumping spider in a container like this, but I think that should be a good amount of it, a good level amount of it. But all right, so then we put our little decorative piece back in, a little vampire bat. And trying to think, what else could and should I put in here? Aside from the inhabitant. I think that should be about it. Alright, so now, time to carefully open the temporary enclosure. Make sure the little goofball isn't anywhere where it can escape easily. Now I don't know. Oh, there you are. Hello. I just realized it's right here on the top of the cork bark. Okay. Now I gotta do this gently and slowly, because I don't want to scare the little thing to the point where it's going to jump and run away. The longer I take to do this, the more chance there is of that, so we're just gonna quickly and carefully put the cork bark in here. I hope I didn't just bury the poor thing in the substrate. Okay. Now, just gently and carefully line this up properly. Or is it supposed to go the other way? No, it can't go that way because the magnets are a little too far away from each other. There. Got it. So now let's take a quick looky-loo and see if we can find the little one. I really hope I didn't just bury and or crush it underneath the substrate, putting the cork bark in there. Alright, but anyway folks, I'm basically going to leave it there. Well, I'm going to call it there. I'll cut back in when I spot the little one again. Found it. It was hiding right back here. Poor thing's probably just about scared to death. Yep, it's still where I thought it was. Alright. So now with that, I'll say a big thank you to each and every single one of you out there watching. I do greatly appreciate that you tuned in. If you like what you've seen here today, you all know the drill. Like, comment, and share my content if you'd like. With all of that out of the way, this is your old pal Oxleymations saying, viewers beware, and subscribe if you dare.